but this is a thread, kind of clapping back, I suppose is what you call it, at Grums. This is a guy named Iron Stylus. He's an art director, a concept artist, maker of things at places, in quotation. Was it a Jewish place? I don't get what the apostrophes are for. I draw pictures. He drives a Corvette, has a bird. That's it. That's my personality. Whoa. Thanks, Michael. So he says, I'll bite. This thread, a thread about making female characters in games. This idiot grifter probably feigning outraged doughboy really doesn't seem to get it. Even apparently as a developer, TLDR, making the nuances of digital faces can be real tough. Can be a real tough one in game art. Oh, okay. Let's get into it. Lighting's a mess with a lot of geometry in games, especially when 3D scanning is involved. A scan will snag virtually any detail, and this detail translates into depth, volume, etc. So lighting can be very bad. This is why many artists don't go off scans, and when they do, there's a lot of post-scan editing. So it's hard to do this. Even Johnny here isn't a one-on-one of Keanu, which, yeah, fair enough. I mean, come on, Keanu isn't this smooth. Sure, maybe some of that's to idealize him, but they idealize Keanu? No. To make sure lighting doesn't catch every crevice, ultimately the flatter texture is the sand's normal bump maps that better lighting will affect it. So this guy looks, see again, very smooth. There's a note. This is an anti-degenerate of a Johnny Silverhand. The claim that he's smooth to avoid crevices catching light is incorrect since there isn't a game render, so there's no simulated lighting sources. It's a flat image. Oh, it's an AI scan? What the hell? What is Michael doing? So he's making the point that it takes a lot of work to make a real scan. One of the complications is trying to make sure the realism is that it gives the eye too much information, so much that it feels off to us because our eye cyclically grabs important stuff but disregards certain smaller detail. We don't see this much info, and that's a male model. Like dudes are complaining about resembles the actor more. Yeah, that's because there have been selective edits, and often character will look more like the actor. Like this figure would have to be edited to make a physical product. So you're kind of going in, yeah, it's hard to make these actors look good. And this is actually one of the reasons why it's not great to use real life actors, in my opinion. But, you know, fair enough. It is hard. Of course, these people are asking for $130 of your money right here, $70 of your money. So, you know, you kind of would expect them to be able to do that. They are asking for a lot of cash here, but that's besides the point. Iron Stylus then kind of goes into, he decides a little bit after this little bit of thread, he needs to make it about himself. There's a point which kind of reveals some of the sort of mindset behind these artists and why these women look so ugly. The point in this dipshit's original post is that men don't seem to be as edited as a female source. That's a whole fucking culture thing on top of production. We forgive men for having structure in their faces, chiseled sharp. We gasp when women have a wrinkle. Oh, really? That's, yeah. That is true. Oh, of course, this is where he makes myself. Case in point, when I worked at Theora WeWork, there was a shit fit had by gamers when we gave her a unique face, one that was stylized, but one that showed structure. So much that a shit fit that we caved to the demands. I did this paint over to make her look more pretty, in quotation marks. So he went from, I think, let's see, Grums has a... So she went from like, just kind of a fierce looking lady, but, you know, not really ugly. And then this is what he tried to do. Tried to make a more stylized face with, like, again, really chiseled features. Big eyes that, again, she looks hotter than this character. And he wanted to make her look more cartoonish, less of a real woman, and more of this really stylized, kind of fierce-looking woman. This almost looks more of a villain. And then people got upset with her because they liked the way the old character looked. Again, definitely the old Fiora is hotter in terms of her face than the new Fiora. So I could understand why people would like that. But in this guy's opinion, this new Fiora is better. And if I'm being 100% fair, I could see the idea of making her look stylized like this if you wanted to make her like evil. But if she's more of a likable character, supposed to be more heroic, I don't see why you wouldn't want to make her a bit softer on the eyes here. Like, this is really fierce angles and details. Again, I don't think she's better looking than the old Fiora. But if you wanted to go with a certain style, I could see this working for that. But again, this is the idea. What is the purpose behind it, though, is kind of the thing I'm curious about. Was it to make her look more style? And then, like, again, she softened a little bit of the features to make her look a bit better. And this is really the design they went with. Yeah, really sharp edges. It doesn't look that good. So he wanted to make her look like this because that's the way he thought would be cooler. It'd be cooler to look like this, or, in his opinion, to make her a better looking character. More, she'd stand out more. And maybe that was the point. Is he wanted to make his mark with his own style on League of Legends, and he's going to do so by making the women in the game that he's redesigning look uglier. That's how he stands out. Because, I mean, if you just make, generic pretty faces, whatever. It's like anime, A lot of the women look the same, One Piece. A lot of the girls look, they're super hot, but they look very similar. Here's how you stand out. You make her look cartoonishly goofy, villainous type of lady. I was pissed about that. But anyway, back to him. I was pissed about this. The Transplayer Splash team didn't want to make the changes because there were such small differences in the changes. But here we were, defending simple chiseling of a woman's face who was supposed to be severe looking. Exactly. She's supposed to look like she's has anorexia, apparently. Severe looking. See, like, she doesn't look... That face doesn't look that severe, to be honest. Again, this face is actually quite soft. With League, we were, of course, not working with in-game lighting. All texture was baked in, no normals or anything, no shadows, so he's got to go on the technical issues with shadows. Talking about the team. Kind of goes back to hyper-realistic models, though, especially the scan models. Yeah, you have everything from tons of sculpted detail, maybe not tweaked by artists, all sorts of maps on the models, specs, roughness, blah, 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 crazy shaders for subsurface scattering. Then he has to mention here, also, this last image is badass. He's got why he's criticizing it, or saying like, oh, it's so hard to make these models look good. He's also got to say like, whoa, she's also badass. So badass. Don't worry, guys. I'm on your team. So yeah, I can guarantee you this translation issue has much more to do with all the parameters affecting the model and specific context of the shot to make it look a bit different from the source actor, but also like entirely different context here. So yeah, it's really hard to do lighting, guys. That's why she looks so bad. Don't worry about it. This is the mind, and this is the mind of these people, of these artists here that are making the female characters that we know and love. Because I'm a trans lesbian and all my RPG journeys, Judy changed my life in Cyberpunk. There was no source actor there, just an amazing expression of the artist's version. She feels more real than virtually any other NPC I've met, or even main character. Is that like a funny way of him saying that he's playing as a woman that likes other women? He's a guy playing as a woman? Or does he seriously roleplay as trans lesbians? This kind of shows you the people that are making these female character models and why they might be looking as bad as they do. Because a heterosexual man does not touch any of these people. And then he just goes on. It's hard, essentially. And there are a huge investment to recreate recreations. He kind of goes into another thing about, it's hard to use real life characters which I agree. I don't particularly like to see real life actors in video games. I think he could kind of get rid of that. Like, there's Idris Elba. It does look a lot like him, but I don't need to see Idris Elba in my video game. But this is kind of what's happening. And it's the same thing that happened with, Hollywood and even cartoon voice acting. A lot of people got mad at, say, Aladdin. When Aladdin first, had Robin Williams and it was super popular, that kind of marked the beginning of where Hollywood decided to use, and Robin Williams did a fantastic job as Genie. Yeah, they do pay him to do art. But it then became like having a famous actor as a draw for your animation became a thing. And then it's just like constantly having these actors in these animated films where, a regular voice actor, professional voice actor could have done a much better job. Yet this is where it's becoming where people are using these voice actors to sell these games to normal people. I know I don't know if you've seen it, but there was like this generic game starring Will Smith, like this really crappy looking zombie survival game where Will Smith was kind of the main character. Really big cash grab, pathetic use of Will Smith. He should be ashamed to be part of this project, but I guess, a payday's a payday. Yeah, this is what it's become. Makeup, lighting, hairstyles can do a lot of difference to the face, but be serious for a second. And then look at this side-by-side comparison. Wow. Yeah, she looks totally different. I mean, sure, it's the same. The cleft, again, they really go so hard on that cleft chin. She looks so much softer in this, and maybe that is a lighting thing, but you're also paid to be a professional artist. You should be able to make this character look good. And she just doesn't look pretty. Even this lighting's kind of nice. She's not bad looking, but she's not that appealing. She's not whoa, knockout pretty. And then, of course, we got to talk about this. This is where he goes into it. Well, let me close this out so we can actually. Michael here has got to attack Western stuff or heterosexual men here. Back to the raw deal women get apparently only judge them beautiful when they're terrifyingly reducted versions of themselves, devoid of any facial features, pigmentation, even blood. Yeah, that's what I want to see out of my video game women, blood. And I want to see the blood vessels in their face. Everything is sanded down, and it's gross. This is gross, guys. Gross. Look at this. Of course, he goes on to say, yeah, we can go into fetishization of plastic, reductive hypersexualization of pixels after I'm done clearing my bathroom from all the diarrhea I had today. Oh, that's lovely. Lovely image, but this is what the Western artist thinks of Eastern art. That actually make women beautiful. It's just fetishization, reductive, hypersexualized. That is the generalized idea of making these women beautiful. It's fetishization, it's reductive, it's hypersexual. Why would you do this? This is badass. This is what badass women look like. This is good. This bad women. You're just appealing to the male gaze. Of course, he also tries to use Sigourney Weaver as an example. Oh, this people wouldn't like this because they can't jack off to her. Of course, he also let's see, Sigourney Weaver. I don't know if I can spell her name. I went to the bathroom. Michael's still yapping. Yes, it was a long thread, but it kind of gives you an idea of what these people think. Yeah. So this was a picture of Sigourney Weaver in Aliens. This is from Aliens, by the way. So, sure, get off whatever you get off, but this gritty war space battle entertainer is not a format for you to jerk off to. Perhaps a little more gritty in context, where you want to have people real, like our bug-killing mother. I think as referring to them as mother is another thing that's weird. Oh, mommy. It's all really creepy stuff. But people do it so often. you can't refer to her as a woman, you know, it's got to refer to her as a mom. I guess it's desexualized. But yeah, then there's this from the movie. Yeah, no one's fapping to that, Michael. Thanks. Great point. But this is Grums again mentioning this is the work Michael has done for women while he's complaining about how hard it is. Again, part of the problem.